Let's begin with a big breaking update that's coming in from the national capital. Are we going to be seeing the razing down and a demolition drive in Jahangirpuri of Delhi today? Much like what we saw in Khargone and in Khambhat after Ram Navami violence broke out, bulldozer politics has now taken center stage in Delhi. The Delhi BJP Cheif wants the riot-accused homes to be bulldozed. Illegal constructions that are owned by the accused could be targeted. We're also going to be giving you details of an order that's been put out by the MCD where they're seeking police help for a bulldozer drive. They're seeking additional security to go ahead with a bulldozer drive for later in the day. In about a few hours from now, we'll have more clarity on whether the accused's illegal constructions will be razed down by a bulldozer. Reminiscent of what we've seen just last week in places like Khargone, where the accused's properties were targeted and razed down. This kind of bulldozer politics now becoming rampant, a direct result of riots and clashes that we're seeing as administration has decided this is the step we're going to take. Let's take this across to Sreya Chatterjee. She's joining us live from Jahangirpuri. Shreya, good morning. What can we expect today? Are preparations being done on the ground to raze down illegal constructions, particularly those owned by the accused?
Well, yes, absolutely. So, if you can just see the visuals, there is heavy police deployment on the ground. And that's exactly what is the sign of the incident that is about to come.
Shreya, keep talking to us. Keep talking to us. Take us through what's happening there.
Well, if you can see the visuals on the ground, I'll ask my cameraman to just show you the visuals. See that.
To just show you the visuals. See, there is heavy police deployment on the ground, and over there you can see that these sectors that have been divided, that's a clear point that how the Delhi police have actually divided the duty to the different additional DCPs that are also on the ground. There are CRPF, there are paramilitary forces, there are riot control vehicles, clearly pointing out at the fact about the incident that is upcoming.
Okay, so a lot of security where Shreya is. I'm going to give her a moment to catch her breath. But you see the kind of deployment there on the ground. It's very clear that looks like at this point the MCD's request for police deployment has been met. We could be seeing post 9:30 in the morning a bulldozer drive, a demolition drive on the ground in Jahangirpuri where illegal constructions are being targeted. This is exactly what we saw in Khargone of Madhya Pradesh as a result of the Ram Navami violence, where several properties that belong to the accused were targeted. It's a rerun of that we're going to be seeing in Delhi. This is a template that's clearly being followed now, Shreya, in different parts of the country. We saw it in Madhya Pradesh, we saw it in Gujarat. It looks like it's going to be happening in Delhi now.
Well, yes, Akshita, first of all, thank you for letting me have a breath. I was running around and trying to show the visuals that are right now here on the ground. You can just see over here. I'll just ask my cameraman to just pan around the entire location. See that the Delhi police are in riot control gear. That exactly points out at the fact about the kind of safety that they are also taking. The similar arrangement was not there yesterday. So this is a clear point out that this is a deployment for that very demolition drive that will happen through these streets.
Okay, and you can see in this entire area, this is very close to exactly where the riots also had broken out on Saturday. You've got all of the personnel there in riot gear. You can see them moving forward. There's going to be a lot of deployment in this entire area, considering that just 2 days ago, when there was police action to take one of the accused into custody, accused Sonu's wife, when she was being taken into custody for questioning, a fresh spate of pelting was reported. The police will want to ensure that that kind of an eventuality doesn't happen this time around, which is why they're taking all measures to ensure adequate security. We're expecting, going by the MCD's request for additional police deployment, and from what our sources are telling us, that there could be a demolition drive starting in about an hour from now. illegal structures are going to be targeted in Jahangirpuri. But make no mistake that this is clearly in order to send across a message to the accused, because obviously then the question arises, why wasn't this done earlier? If these were illegal constructions, they should have been destroyed and demolished long ago. The reason it's being done now is to set a precedent. Home Minister Amit Shah sent out exactly that message yesterday when he said that take strictest possible action against the accused, set a precedent so that nobody dares to take law into their own hands and resort to this kind of rioting. Do we know at this point exactly where the demolition is going to happen, Sreya? And you know, as I was mentioning, if you could also give us details of exactly what the communication has been from the authorities on action that needs to be taken against the accused, because you're talking about the National Security Act already being slapped against the accused. Now they face the threat of some of their properties also being demolished.
Well, you know, Akshita, there are certain things that I want our viewers to understand. This is the very location where stone pelting happened. Now I want to come through the locations where most of these people who have been arrested actually stay. Just see the kind of lanes that lead to these roads. You can very well understand that it's next to impossible for a bulldozer to enter these lanes. Bringing out that point that if at all this drive has to happen on the rioters, on the stone pelters, that the administration is saying it will have to take a lot of task, because you really can't enter these lanes through bulldozers. So that's a question we'll wait and watch and see what happens. As far as the action is concerned, there are legal actions against those that's already been initiated. 5 people face NSA, but right now on the ground, this is a demolition drive. The BJP Delhi president maintains this is a demolition drive against the rioters who are also illegal encroachment holders. The NDMC order officially say this is an illegal demolition drive. Just look at the kind of police security right now on the ground near the lanes where the accused stays.
You know, this was a demand put forth by the Delhi BJP, who had said demolish all of the properties of these accused. The MCD soon after that, late last night, Sreya, is when they came out with that request, with a circular which immediately went viral, where they were seeking help from the police for the kind of deployment that you right now see on your screens, that Sreya is also showing us from Jahangirpuri. She's also telling us that, you know, in some of these lanes, there's no space whatsoever for a bulldozer to go through. So how will they go forward with this demolition drive if that's what they're planning? But clearly at this point, security being deployed in an unprecedented manner. In the last few days since the riots happened on Saturday, we have been seeing a lot of security deployment, but this time around there's a lot more early in the morning, all of them in riot gear, clearly prepared for this kind of a bulldozer drive that we're going to be seeing. We've seen it happen in Madhya Pradesh, we've seen it happen in Gujarat. This seems to be a template, Sreya, in response to anyone who decides to resort to this kind of behavior of taking law into their own hands and rioting. A clear message that's being sent across, and we understand that Home Minister Amit Shah also previously has said that you must take the strictest action against the accused. If you can show us again exactly where the rioting, where the violence broke out, and at this point where the security is placed, where we could perhaps expect the demolition drive to happen.
Well, Akshita, you know, we're probably getting these visuals first on India Today, because no other camera person is right now here, and you can see the deployment. This is that area. This is near the masjid where the violence broke out. I'll ask my camera person to once pan you at the masjid where the stone pelting had started, and right now the police deployment is also just near the very lanes where the accused was picked up from. These are the same lanes where some of them actually reside, pointing out the question, how do a bulldozer enter these kind of lanes? So we'll have to wait and watch for a clarity that if at all there's a demolition drive, how does that happen? Because in Khargone, Akshita, I was there in Khargone too, where I saw what happened was that a portion of the buildings were raised for some of these people. So definitely points out the question, in these particular lanes, how do they enter a bulldozer? Because most of the accused stay deep inside these narrow lanes. It's extremely difficult for a bulldozer to enter. So another question, whether this will just be optics or really those accused those who have been accused as rioters will be facing the strictest punishment is what we'll have to wait and watch for.
And there's no doubt there's going to be a lot of politics that's playing out on this. Sreya, just stay on with us, because even as some have hailed this decision, saying this is how you set a precedent and ensure nobody resorts to rioting again, the other question will be, if there's been no judicial action, if they're still accused, how can you go ahead and take this kind of action of targeting their properties? Let's get you all the reactions that are coming in this morning. Asaduddin Owaisi, the AIMIM chief, has lashed out at the BJP, referring to what happened in Madhya Pradesh, in Gujarat and now in Delhi. He's saying that the BJP is targeting the poor and their properties. Here's what Owaisi has tweeted. I'm quoting here. BJP's declared war against the poorest in the name of encroachment. It's going to destroy homes in Delhi like Uttar Pradesh and Madhya Pradesh. No notice, no opportunity to go to court, simply punishing poor Muslims for daring to stay alive. This is what Asaduddin Owaisi has said. Interestingly, he's also questioned Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal, saying he must clarify his dubious role. The Aam Aadmi Party has alleged that BJP wants to disturb the peaceful situation in Delhi. So with that order that I referred to, the MCD circular that went viral, cue the politics. Asaduddin Owaisi lashing out to the centre and also demanding answers from Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal. The Aam Aadmi Party saying that this is an attempt to disturb peace in Delhi. As expected, Sreya, there is a lot of politics that's playing out on it. There's a lot of criticism that's coming the BJP's way, the central government's way, if they go ahead with this demolition, much like what we witnessed in Khargone.
Well, absolutely. You know, I mean, there is criticism about this demolition drive. There were criticism about that happened in Khargone. There was criticism about that which took place in Gujarat. And now that it has reached the national capital, the bulldozer is apparently going to be here in the national capital. A pertinent question, because the criticism that the central government has to face right now is something that they will also have to answer. But they're probably wanting to send a message. The message is now becoming more important than what the opposition says, than what the critics says. And, you know, before I go, I mean, when you go across to you, I'll again want to show the visuals to our viewers. These visuals are exclusive on India Today only, where you can see the place where the police has gathered. You know, see, there are riot control vehicles, there are tear gas ammunition. So the Delhi police is absolutely ready on the ground. You see those riot control vehicles that are moving through, that are marching through these areas. These are the lanes where the accused stays. I'll ask my camera person to show you those houses. I mean, these are not the exact houses where the writer stays. As I showed, that those are the narrow lanes through which the most of the accused who are arrested, they reside. How will a bulldozer enter? Big question. Second point, the template that we saw in Khargone, a part of their buildings were razed down, calling the portion as illegally encroached. Will that happen? There are people who stay on the roads. Whether they will be facing the demolition, we will now have to wait and watch for. But Delhi police on ground, prepared, hands down. See how they have come and stay put outside those very lanes where the accused stays. This in itself is an answer on the fact that Delhi police is prepared on the ground. What next? We will have to wait and watch for that.
You know, the MCD is referring to this as an encroachment drive. It's anything but that. If this was to target illegal buildings, this should have been done long ago. The timing of it is very, very clear. The message that they're trying to send across. This is clearly to target the accused. This is clearly to target their properties for the role, the alleged role, mind you, that they had in the riots that played out on Saturday. And that's exactly what the likes of AIMIM chief Asaduddin Owaisi, the Aam Aadmi Party, are all highlighting here. Shreya, the MCD in its circular, which was circulated last night, where they in fact sought the police's help, referred to this as an encroachment drive. I'm sure Jahangir Puri and many other parts of Delhi are full of illegal properties, but this is very targeted action against properties belonging to the accused.
Well, absolutely, Akshada. We can very categorically and clearly put this on record that this is a targeted encroachment drive. Because at the first place, we saw the BJP Delhi President Adesh Gupta put out a circular where he mentioned that we have to take strict actions against the rioters. Their illegal encroached property has to be razed down. The word rioters was used in that very letter that was put down by the BJP state president. Followed by that, we saw the NDMC circular being brought to the forefront. So here there is no air to not point out that this is a targeted encroachment drive. We've seen a similar in Khargone where we've seen the politicians very pertinently put out that this is against those who rioted. Obviously, the administration put out a more systematic message saying that this is an illegal encroachment drive. So yet again, as you asked, there are several such illegal encroached properties in Delhi. Why is it that it's happening in Jahangirpuri, and that too only after that riots and the clashes took place and only after those accused got arrested? And that's something that we'll have to wait and watch out for what happens. The bulldozers have yet not reached here in Jahangirpuri, but Delhi police is prepared on the ground. We'll have to wait and watch what pans out for the rest of the day today.
All right, Sreya, we'll trust you to keep us up to speed with all the developments that happened there in Jahangirpuri, and we'll leave it to our viewers to decide on whether this is the right precedent to set to take this kind of unprecedented action against an accused where their properties are also targeted, or whether you are then going ahead and targeting someone who's allegedly involved in the riots. Remember, the courts haven't deemed them guilty yet. Either way, trust us here on India Today to get you all the latest updates of what's playing out in Jahangirpuri. Unprecedented security there on the ground as the MCD sought police help for an encroachment drive, for a demolition drive that will kick off